Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Uh, I don't know. Today's interesting. I was thinking about what to make for today, and I've been spending some time in the comments of some of my videos, and it seems like I've attracted a couple people with religious views that one of my videos apparently is, I don't know, bothering some people. I'm not sure that the people that are actually commenting or necessarily reading the video, because most of the video I actually spend supporting that they're commenting under. It's a video about what really bothers me about religion and spirituality. And mostly my beefs are how a lot of those beliefs are valid and got there. And I do spend some time talking about how I think people should stop bothering people with their beliefs, because if you can't prove something, if you don't have evidence to show, and you don't have good reason why somebody should believe that can be demonstrated in a tangible way, then I believe you should keep it to yourself, or only talk about it that people are interested. Like, people come to your church if they want to hear what you have to say. And that got me thinking about debate, and to a larger degree, it got me thinking about how difficult of a time we have in society holding other people's viewpoints. And while throughout this video, I expect that there's probably going to be, I don't know, people are probably going to take this as anti-Christian or something, and maybe it will be. I am pretty anti-Christian, but it doesn't mean I feel like it's my place to crap all over somebody's beliefs. I will crap all over what I can prove. And what I can prove is they make claims that they can't prove. And that is a problem to me, because if I'm running around just making up whatever I want, if I walked around and said Harry Potter is real, and if you don't believe it, you deserve to die forever, like that's just a stupid statement to make. We all know that that's fiction. And we have this place in religion where people can't distinguish between fantasy and reality anymore. People can't get past magic. And it's gotten so bad that people can't even understand each other's viewpoints. We actually get angry with each other simply because we believe different things. Here's my big beef with this topic. When we have areas that we can't prove, that have different ways to see it, different ways to prioritize things. The way that I speak about this in my daily life is we all optimize for something different. I optimize for truth. Truth is what I value the most. That is what I think is the most important. And I don't need you to value truth more than me, or I don't need you to value truth at the level I do for me to be able to have respect for you. There are various things that I respect, like holding true to somebody's beliefs. Anyway, before I get into anything more specific, I do want to just point out that we can respect each other's beliefs while disagreeing. And if I can't prove something to you, if I'm not based in fact, I need to learn that I can't just force my beliefs upon you. I can't tell you that a certain God is real, because I will never be able to prove that. Now, if I had a mechanism to where I said, if you do this ritual and 100% of the time something will happen, that is something that would be worth sharing. That is something I can demonstrate an actual causal relationship. And that's not what's happening. People pray and then they say God works in mysterious ways. That's not evidence to me. That's not God doing something. Just because you make your wish list doesn't mean that God's real. Just because sometimes you wish for something and sometimes that happens, that doesn't make God real. That just means that you probably planned your life for that thing to happen. You didn't get a car because God gave you money. You got a car because you saved up for it, or you qualified for a loan because of your responsibility in life and your credit score. None of that has anything to do with a God. It's all stuff that we can look at and systematically, look at, and it's just stuff that happens. Everybody has stuff that happens. And the rules of statistics say that every 100 times something that happens to me, one of those 100 things is going to be something that only happens 1% of the time. Everybody's going to have low probability stuff happen to them. It's just the way it is. The more time we have, the more likely it is that an unexpected event is going to happen. The less unexpected events we've had happen to us, the more likely it is that more will happen. Now, that's not exactly how stats work, but it is a rough truth. No, it's a rough, it's an estimate. It's statistics. Statistics are weird, right? Because, there are conditions where something that happens 80% of the time has a 0% chance to happen. And so does it have an 80% chance or a 0%? Well, of course it has a 0%, but outside of that isolated case, overall, it would be 80%. And so just because something happened that made it 0 this time doesn't mean it's 0 next time. And so anyway, statistics are really complicated. And I'm not going to sit here and describe statistics for like 2 hours because that would bore me even. Yeah, probably not, actually. I'd probably enjoy it. But we have this. So this is where I get frustrated, right? We get into this place where people can't accept what the facts do and don't show. And people seem to have this real problem today with allowing something that they don't believe to exist as possible. Like, evidence doesn't make something true. If I walked up to a house and I grabbed the doorknob and it was hot, well, okay, I could assume the house is on fire. I could assume that it was a bright sunny day that made heat on that knob. I could maybe think that somebody did something to intentionally warm that knob. Like there's an old Home Alone movie where somebody put a heater on the doorknob so that it would be red hot and burn somebody as a trap. The fact is the doorknob is hot. That is a fact. The house is on fire. The sun heated it up. There's something actually intentionally heating it, like an electric object. These are assumptions. And anybody who says one of those, they have evidence saying that, okay, maybe this other thing could be true. We can't say that that's not true, but that doesn't make it true. Just because the doorknob's hot doesn't make a fire inside. Just because the doorknob's hot doesn't make it a bright sunny day. None of those things are true. And just because we have one fact that leaves the possibility for 3 different options doesn't mean all 3 of those options are occurring. It can't be. Well, it could be, I suppose. I suppose it could be somebody put it on there. Maybe that caused a fire inside the house and it happened to be a bright sunny day. It could be all of them. And we don't know. So what's the point of having that argument? What's the point of sitting there going, so this is me as a person who values and optimizes for truth first. What is the range of the possible? Well, do I think a spiritual realm could exist? Do I think there could be a God that works in mysterious ways? Maybe. I can't prove otherwise, and therefore it's absurd for me to say that there is no God. I see no evidence for God. I don't believe there is a God. I don't think that there's any satisfying information that suggests there is a God, but I do think that there are things that go on beyond our understanding, and some of those things at times can be measured. But just because we can't measure everything about them and understand what they are doesn't make it God, and it doesn't make it not God. It just makes it different. Like quantum entanglement, we understand this concept, and to a degree we can kind of measure it, but we don't have the capacity to, we can't move 2 entangled electrons a light year apart and then take measurements on them to see if it still works at a light year. We can do it on smaller scale, but there's a certain degree that we can't actually prove that. Now, what does entanglement prove? What does it mean? I don't know. It could mean anything. But some people take that to mean that there's God. Some people take it to mean that there's some kind of spiritual realm. I've even seen evidence that there are parts of the universe that, inanimate or non-existent stuff, or what we might call vacuum space or something like that. I guess there was a reason. I don't really understand the science, but there's a research team suggesting that they think that there's decision-making capacity in empty space. And if I understood that science, I'd explain it to you, but I don't. And if that's true, then what would it mean if the universe is conscious? Could that mean that the universe is just a giant brain and we're just little organisms, like, little microbes in it that are wandering around, kind of affecting the universe by pushing on its vacuum space because we're stuff and not vacuum space? And do we affect its intelligence because, am I affecting some consciousness because I wave my arm? Well, that could be. Could that be construed as a God? Maybe. But here's one I got for you. There is no version of the God of the Bible that can exist. It is contradictory. Like, you can't have all of those things that the Bible claims God is and remain and have what comes out the other side possibly be true. Like, that can't be. And so this is one of the things that really bothers me about people is that they say that it's true and they don't even understand the contradictions. They'll fight. As a matter of fact, most Christians I've run into, they'll actually fight me on the contradictions. It was interesting. Like people don't understand. I'm not just some atheist that like, oh, I don't care about God or religion's too hard. Or what people don't know about me is I studied. When I was a kid, we had neighbors that they had their own personal research library for biblical stuff. I have studied, they call it a concordance. There's other books that I've used that you can look up Bible verses. You can look up words in the Bible and you can actually get the translated text. And I have studied from the actual Hebrew and Greek text. There's some 13 different words in the Bible that express the word love. Like Philadelphia is an old Greek word meaning brotherly love. That's what Philadelphia is. So there are times that Philadelphia, the actual base word in Greek, was translated as love. And is that an accurate representation? Sure, but it's not what we're talking about. That's not God's love. That's agape love. Like agape, like that's a word that is used to describe absolute unconditional love, and it's actually not as commonly used as everybody thinks in the Bible. But there's eros, that's erotic love. Like there are a lot of different types of love in the Bible. And so when people talk about love throughout the Bible, they're actually talking about different concepts. And we've lost that in translation because English isn't quite the same kind of language or contextually speaking as some of these ancient languages. And so translating becomes quite a task because the way grammar, the way articles, the way like filler words and adjectives and verbs are used, like it all changes throughout language. I don't know enough about language to understand exactly how or why, but I understood that I could look at something, and when I would study, there are verses that mean something so much different than what than what the Bible says. A couple of the commandments are mistranslated. I think one of the most common ones is, thou shalt not covet the neighbor's wife. I'm pretty sure that the text, and this is long ago memory, I'm pretty sure that the text actually kind of means more like don't take your neighbor's wife. Like it's kind of more of an anti-adultery thing, but I don't remember exactly what the text is. And I also don't remember the base translation. And even if I did, that would be of minimal help because my linguistic skills are probably limited to that study. But I would spend a lot of time in that library and I would read. In my teenage years, before I was an adult on my own, I read the Bible cover to cover twice myself. Yes, I fell asleep at the he begat, she begat, the lines. I did find time where it is fascinating understanding some of these bloodlines. If you actually dive in and read through some of these bloodlines, it is actually interesting because they are trying to make a point about where somebody came from or the former respect that they're trying to, put into a certain person because of following these bloodlines. That's the way we used to do things, right? Royalty and royal bloodlines and all of this. We believe that a family carries authority. And when you hand that down through your bloodline, then you have that. So there's a lot of interesting things in there like that, but there's a lot of things that people just don't understand about the Bible. Like it bothers me how many people don't understand the story of Job. Like Job is terrifying to me. Job literally disproves the concept of the biblical God by itself to me. That story is absolutely asinine. So we're expected to believe that there's some God out there who wanted to go brag to Satan. So he's like, oh, okay, this big enemy that I made that's making the world horrible, I want to go brag to that guy. Why? Why does God need to brag to Satan? Why does Satan need to go to Job and say, hey, I think I think you need to see this guy I have, this Job. He worships me. He's good, upstanding, yada, yada, yada. So Satan, come look at this. And it's absurdity to me. Why? Wait, why would God do that? God tells us not to boast, right? Not to be proud of ourselves, not to be full of ourselves, not to show off. Like these are all biblical concepts, and God is going and finding Satan just to boast about a follower? Like, okay, that seems a little bit odd. But then Satan's like, okay, well, yeah, but he's only fun and upright because you've treated him so well. You gave him, all these, animals on the hillsides. You've given him a great family, love of children and all of that. And he's only there because of all that. And so God's like, fine, torture him for no good reason then, and you'll see. Like, that's what happened with Job. Now, if God is all loving, What's the deal with picking up his mean friend and saying, yeah, go beat up my awesome boy just so I can prove how awesome he is? That is absurdity. Testing us? Fuck you. Fuck you. If you want to test us, tell us what's on the test. Because you're just saying that Job was winning the test. He did all the right things. You went and bragged to Satan specifically about that. And you punished him anyway. And you're supposed to be a God of fairness and justice? Fuck you. That's what narcissists do. Narcissists go and find other people to pick on their target for them so that they can laugh and say, ha ha ha, look at that person getting tortured. That's what narcissists do, man. We live in an age of narcissists. We should recognize this right away. And people hear the story of Job. Oh yeah, he's got the patience and he can handle all the suffering. He didn't deserve any of that. The Bible is supposed to be about fairness and justice. If he was following all the rules and living like an upright man and he gets punished anyway, what do you think's going to happen to you when you show up at heaven and say, I did all the right stuff? And he's like, oh yeah, well, I gotta send you down to spend some time with Satan to see if that's real. How do you know that's not going to happen? That's what he did to Job. He was bragging about it in his own book. And you don't think that'll happen to you? And what about all the times he destroyed the earth? What, children get to die because, mankind is corrupt, so you flood the world and destroy all the children too? Destroy people that did nothing wrong, destroy the innocent along with the guilty? That doesn't sound like justice to me. That just sounds like genocide. And it disturbs me that there's so many people that believe this. And I honestly think it's an ignorance thing. I think the beginning of the end was me actually learning the doctrine. I think me talking about it, because when I was reading through it, I would find the contradictions, and I would go and I would ask my neighbor about it. She's one of the very few people that I don't think has gone to seminary that I would say I probably have a paling of biblical knowledge compared to. And when I would take to her the things I would find in the Bible that were contradictions, she would tell me that I was too young to understand, or that I needed to wait for God to enlighten me so that I could understand, or that, that was there so that the false believers wouldn't believe. I don't understand that one, because if you want me to follow what you're doing, wouldn't you want to give me clear, concise instructions so that I could follow it? If you give me a puzzle, there's no such thing as justice anymore, because I can't reliably follow the rules. I don't know which contradiction to go on. How am I like, it's literally a standard that can't be lived up to. And that's a bigger problem I have with the broader Christian message, right? Like, is that you can't live up to it. The whole point is you are a fucking loser to the degree that you deserve nothing but torture, you sack of shit. And so we'll send the perfect guy so that he can wipe your ass and you can get into heaven. What the hell is that? Like, it's literally a religion that says you're useless. Okay, so then why would God care about our worship if we were worthless? Like, it literally just makes no sense. If we're so worthless that we should just be lied to, mistreated, and given a puzzle so that justice never happens, we were never valued in the first place. Why would we even be told about any of this? Why would any of this come to us? Obviously, we're not valued. We're just given a puzzle so that we sit down here and run in hamster wheels for the amusement of the Creator. That's all Christianity is. And it's confusing to me that people look at it and then they take they claim that they have some objective moral high ground because morality comes from God on high. Well, here's one for you. Objective morality. How can that be if the morality of God has changed? How can it be objective? How can it be unchanging, absolute, something objective? How can that be if he's up there changing his minds? It used to be we had to kill animals. Now Jesus was enough to get us into heaven. Which is it? If that changes, then morality changed. It had to. There's no other alternative. Would would the animal sacrifice still be sufficient if we chose to reject Jesus, but still did the animal sacrifices? So if you had, a community that believed in Jewish law and they were still actively participating in sacrifices, would they be able to get in? Because that's how you used to get into heaven. That's how you used to wash away the sins before God, was we had animal sacrifices. But then Jesus comes along and that's the last of it. That's all we need. Why? How can that change, and how can that be objective morality? So if that changes, then morality can't be objective, and what else isn't objective? Are the Ten Commandments just subjective too? Do they have any real meaning? And how can the Ten Commandments have a thou shalt not kill while there's many, many, many places that the Bible says to kill people over? How can that be? How can that be reasonable? Do not kill, or is it just do not kill unless I say so? In which case we're back to like double standards. We're back to imperfection. We're back to inconsistency. We're back to outside the world of objectivity. So it's really going to be impossible to convince me that the Christian God is real. I'm guessing that any other God of Abraham is going to have the same flaws in my mind. And honestly, I don't know enough about all religions to reject them outright. But I studied Christianity with sincerity. I gave too much of my time to Christianity. And part of the reason I even talk about it is because, well, hell, I don't want to feel like my time was wasted, because it essentially was. But at least now I know the truth. At least I've learned enough to where I have the solid understanding of truth. And I guess this video didn't end up being what I wanted it to be. I guess it did turn into, I think, that Christianity's crap. Maybe it was just a crap on Christianity. And you know what? I am perfectly fine with that, because Christianity should be crapped on. It is ridiculous that people are running around saying that this God is all loving while he's literally just a fucking narcissist looking to pull wings off flies. It is sad. And I am sad that we have come to a state in modern society where we should have, the best education. We should have the most knowledge. And whenever I say something that shouldn't even be controversial, like we can't prove God, I spend the whole weekend arguing with people in comments about it. And that's just, I guess it's just sad to me. Well, anyway, I guess that's what I've got to say about that. I guess I just needed to get that off my chest. And if you've got things to say about Christianity, keep it polite. Don't attack people. Don't make it personal. Keep it about the ideology. And if you don't know enough about the ideology to be trying to defend it, then maybe you should go learn. If you're going to be spreading the ideas of Christianity, don't you think you should have a responsibility to know more than everybody else? Don't you think you should have a responsibility to understand and admit where the contradictions exist? Because if you don't, you lose all credibility. If you can't handle the weakest parts of your case, if you can't handle the weakest parts of your claim, then why are you making it? Because it's so easy to pick apart. There's so much to it. There's so much wrong with Christianity. And there's I just don't really have the tolerance for people that don't really know what their doctrine even is, running around belittling other people for beliefs that just don't even make any sense, that are completely self-contradictory, and that there is no way to actually live out the model for the religion, because the religion doesn't provide a path for that. So with that, I guess I feel satisfactorily done crapping on at least Christianity for the moment. I suppose if you enjoy crapping on Christianity, that's one for you. I doubt this video is going to do much more than stir up the people that are already stirred up, and that's fine. Like, I don't have a problem with people believing what they're believing. Just don't come at me telling me it's true. Just don't come at me telling me that you know something that I don't. I've looked at it, and there just isn't evidence one way or the other, and that's where belief land exists. Go believe what you want. If you want to explain away the contradictions in the Bible, if you want to explain away the narcissistic behaviors of the God described in the Bible, that's all your choice. Just go learn enough to understand what you're doing and make sure that that's what you really want to be doing. Because a religion that feels good because somebody told you that you're loved because they said so, I don't know, man. That's just not enough for me. That seems like taking advantage of people. And so I guess with that, be well.